Greetings. Now let's move on to the UML diagram. At the center, we have the cart class. This class manages the shopping cart. It stores a list of cart items and also maintains a list of observers. It follows the singleton pattern, meaning only one instance of the cart exists. The cart class has a composition relationship with cart item. This means cart items cannot exist without the cart. Next is the cart item class, which represents individual items inside the cart. Each cart item is associated with a product. This is an aggregation relationship because products can exist independently of the cart. The product class is the base class for all product types. It contains attributes like product ID, name, price, and stock. Below it, we see beverage, stock, snack, and household, which inherit from product. These demonstrate inheritance, where subclasses share and extend the behavior of the parent class. We also have the product factory, which, which has a dependency relationship with product. It is responsible for creating product objects based on category. On the left side, we have POS frame, which represents the user interface. It interacts with the cart and display product. So it also implements the cart observer interface. So next, the art observer interface defines a method called onCartUpdate. This demonstrates observer pattern where UI automatically updates when the cart changes. Greetings, I'm Byron Elmar Estimado and I will explain our main program. So this is the entry point of the system. Inside the main method, the program first sets the system look and feel using Swing to make the interface look modern. Next, it creates a list of products using an array list. These products are generated using the product factory class. This demonstrates the factory design pattern where objects are created through a central factory instead of directly using constructors. We can see different product categories such as beverages, snacks, and household items. Each product has attributes like ID, name, price, and stock. After creating the product list, the program launches the graphical user interface using POS frame.
Dangal greetings. So my name is Justin Brilla Barquez and I'm gonna be explaining about the car class. So first is that this class belongs to the quickmart.core package. Then we need to have these two imports, array list and then list. This is where we're gonna store the cart items and then the observers. Next is we need to have an import from quickmart.model package. We need to have the product class and then cart item. Next is the class declaration. So we name it as class. So this one is a singleton. A singleton design pattern. So meaning only one card can exist to the whole program, and it's also a subject to the observer pattern that we will explain later. So it notifies a UR or other components. So next is the this instance. So we declared it as private for protection. Then static so that it will be shared across the whole program. So what this do is that it holds the only instance of the card. So next is this two. So this one is the list of cart items and then cart observers. So the items stores the products added to the cart, and then the observer stores the listeners like UI that reacts to the changes. Next is the private card. So this one is the constructor. So this one is private so that it prevents creating objects using the new card. And then we have these two. Um, it initializes the empty list. So um, this one is private when using a singleton design pattern. So next is this get instance. So this one ensures that only one card object exists, and then it creates it only when first needed. So it is called the lazy initialization. So instead of directly calling the constructor for creating an object, we will use this instead. So this is the purpose of the get instance. So we use this when we are using a singleton design pattern. So next is this one. So add observer. So what this do is that it register a class like UI to listen to the cart updates. So next is the notify observer. This one. So this one calls on cart update on all observers. So this one calls to the other class, the observer. So we will talk about that later. So next is that it trigger whenever a card changes. So next is that this one. So add item. This one have two parameters, the product and then the quantity. So this one checks if the products already exist. So this is the purpose of this if statement. So it checks if the product already exists. So if yes, so it increase the quantity and then reduce the stock and then notify the observers. Next is these three lines. So these three, if product is new, so it add to cart, then reduce stock and then notify the observers. So next is this remove item. So it removes item by index. So we have a if statement. So index must be greater than or equal to 0, and then index must be less than to item size. So we use this so that it will not to catch to prevent errors. So the user can enter negative numbers, and then they also can't enter a number that exceed the item size. So the remove item purpose is that it remove items by index, restores stock before removing, and then notifies the observers. So next is this public get item. So this one just returns all items in the cart. Next is this compute total. So this one calculates the total price before VAT. So this one is just the total without the VAT tax. Next is this compute VAT. So this one computes the tax or the VAT. So the VAT is 0.12. So next is this one will be our final total. So compute grand total. So what returns the this class returns will be put here, and then also this one will be put here, then it will be added together. So that will be the return value of compute grand total. So next is the clear, this one. So it just restores all stock, then remove all items, and then notifies the observer. Next is this is empty. So this one it returns true if the cart has no item. So that this one just checks if the cart is empty or not. So that's all for the cart item. So dangal greeting. So my name is Justin Brilabarquez, and I'm gonna be explaining about the cart observers. So this class belongs to the quickmart.core package. So same as the cart class. And this one is just a short code, and it's an observer design pattern. So the cart observer interface is used so that other parts of the system can listen for changes in the carts. And next is that it has one method. So this method, this one So only one method. So on cart update, which runs whenever the cart is updated. So any class that implements this interface decides what it should do when that happens. So like refreshing the UI or updating the total. So it's like automatically refreshing, and then it will be automatically update your UI. So for example, so the POS frame, so this one can implement the cart observer. So it is automatically updates the display whenever the items are added or removed. So the main idea is flexibility. So the cart doesn't need to know who is listening, um, only that they follow the cart observer contract. So this makes the system easier to manage and then extends. So that's all for the cart observer. So thank you.
Mga greetings, my name is Maria Burgos and I will be explaining this class called Product Factory. So the first part of the code declares the package, which is the QuickMart.factory. So this means the Product Factory class belongs to the factory package inside the QuickMart project. Next are the import statements. We have here this four. So this lines brings in different classes from the model package. So product is likely the parent class, while beverage, snack, and household are subclasses. So these imports are needed so the factory can create objects of these types. So for the class declaration, we have here the public class product factory. So this defines a public class named product factory, and this is responsible for creating product objects based on their category. So for the method, we have here the public static product create product, and inside the parameter, the string category, string product ID, string name, double price, and in stock. So this is a static method named createProduct. So it returns a product object and it takes a several parameters. So the category is the type of the product, the beverage, snack, and household. The product ID is the unique ID of the product. The name is the product name. The price is the product price. And the stock is the number of items available. So this method decides which product object to create. So we have here the first condition, the if. If category equals null, return new household, product ID, name, price, and stock. So if the category is not provided or null, the method automatically creates and returns a household object as a default. So it prevents errors and ensures something is always returned. So for the next condition, we have here the if category equals ignore case, beverage, and return new snack. So if the category is snack, the method creates and returns a snack over with the object with the provided information. So for the next condition, we have the else if. Else if category that equals ignore case snack, return new household. So if the category is household, the method creates and returns a household object. So the return new household product ID, name, price, and stock. If the category does not match any known type, the method defaults to creating a household object, and it ensures the method always returns a valid product even for invalid input. So now for the next class, we have here this class, the beverage class. So the beverage class is a subclass inside the QuickMart.model package, and it represents a specific type of product in the system. So it demonstrates inheritance and polymorphism because it extends the product class, meaning it inherits common product attributes and behaviors such as the product ID, name, price, and the stock. So by extending the product, the beverage class can reuse shared code while also customizing specific behavior for beverage items. So for the constructor public beverage, string product ID, string name, double price, and in stock. This is responsible for creating a beverage object. So it does not directly assign values to attributes. So instead, it uses super which is used for to call the constructor of the parent product class. So it ensures that all shared product properties are properly initialized in one central place. Next, we have here the method for the getting the category, the public string get category. So this method is overridden using override. So this method return the string beverage, which identifies the type of the product because it overrides an abstract or parent method. So it basically supports the polymorphism, allowing the system to treat all products uniformly while still recognizing their specific category when needed. And last, the method for computing the price, the public double compute price, and the parameter in quantity. So this method is also overridden, and it calculates the total price by multiplying the product unit price and retrieve using get price, so by the quantity requested. So this allows each product type to define its own pricing behavior if needed. But in this case, beverages follow a simple multiplication rule. For the next class, we have here the cart item. So the cart item class represents a single item inside a shopping cart in the QuickMart.model package. So it is designed to pair a product object with a specific quantity, meaning it stores both what the customer is buying and how many units they are buying. So this class demonstrates encapsulation since its fields are kept private and accessed only through methods. So the class has two private fields, the product and int quantity. This So the product field stores the actual product object, which could be a beverage, a snack, or even a household, while quantity stores how many units of the product are in the cart. So the product field is marked as final, meaning it is assigned in the constructor that it cannot be changed. So for the constructor, we have here the public cart item and the parameter product in quantity. It initializes a new cart item by linking a product with a chosen quantity. Then the this.product and this.quantity statement assigns the past product to the class field, while the this.quantity equals quantity sets how many units are being added to the cart. Next, we have here the getter method. First one is the public product get product. This these are uses to access the private fields safely from outside the class. Also, the public int get quantity. So it follows the principle of encapsulation by allowing controlled access to data without exposing the fields directly. The public void set quantity and int quantity method allows the quantity to be updated. So this is useful when the same product is added again to the cart. So instead of creating a new item, the quantity can simply be adjusted. And last, the public double get subtotal. This method calculates the total price of this cart item. It calls the product.compute price quantity, which demonstrates polymorphism. So this means the correct version of compute price is executed depending on the actual product type. Example, the beverage, snack, or the household. So it ensuring the accurate pricing behavior for each product category.
Danga greetings, I'm Dina Cruz Josephine, and today I will explain the product, household, and snack class in our project. So for the first one is the product. This is the parent class. So we have this public abstract class product. So this is our main template. It's abstract because you can't buy a generic product that it has to be a specific item. Next is we have the private final string product ID, private final string name, and private final double price, and private in stock. So private fields is for encapsulation. So these are the details every item needs like the ID, name, price, stock. So we use private to keep the data safe. And next is the public product and the parameters, which is the string product ID, string name, double price, in stock. So this is the constructor. It's the setup code that runs when we first create an item. Next is the this at product ID is equals to product ID. So we have this at name is equals to name, and this at price is equals to price, and this at stock is equals to stock. So this part just takes the information provided and saves it into the class variables. Next is we have the public string get product ID and the public string get name and public double get price and public int get stock. So these are the getters. Since our data is private, these methods are like windows that let us see the information without changing it. Next is for the public void reduce stock in quantity. So this reduce stock when item is added to cart. So this method subtracts from the stock when someone adds an item to their cart. Next is we have the public void restore stock in quantity. So this method is a placeholder. This method does the opposite. It adds items back if the customer changed their mind. Unlike the other one, which is the reduced stock, this one does the opposite. And next one is the public abstract string get category, which is this one. So this is a placeholder. It tells the child classes they must provide a category name. Next is the public abstract double compute price with the parameter in quantity. So this is another placeholder. Every item needs a way to calculate its price, but the math might be different. So we have the public string to string, this one. So this decides how the item looks on the screen, like putting the category in the brackets and adding PHP. So for overall, think of this class as the boss of the code. It doesn't represent a real item, so you can buy it, but it sets all the rules and handles the inventory logic so that every other item we create starts with the same foundation. Next is we have the household class. So in the household class, this is public class household extends product. So that this means household is a child of product class. It inherits all the features of the parent. So we have the constructor, the public household, and a parameter string product ID, string name, double price, in stock, and we have the super product ID, name, price, and stock. So the constructor for household items specifically. And for the super, this is a shortcut. It sends the data up to the parent class to let it handle the setup work. Next is we have the override, which is this one. So this tag tells the program or the computer that we are replacing the placeholder from the parent with our own actual code. So we have the public string get category, which is this one. This specific class simply returns the word household. And we have the public double compute price in quantity, which is this one. So this is the math part. It just takes the price and multiplies it by the number of items. And for the summary of this class is a simple example of inheritance. It's a specialized version of a product that doesn't need any special math. So it just uses the basic price times quantity to get the job done. And for the last one is the snack class. So we have the public class snack extends product. So just like before, this means a snack is a type of product. And we have the constructor, which is public snack, and the parameter string, so product ID, string name, double price in stock. So the that is the constructor for snacks. And again, we have the super. This passes the information to the parent class so we don't have to rewrite the setup code. So next is we have the public string get category. So the public string get category, so this time the method returns the word snack. And next is we have the public double compute price in quantity, this one. So here is the special part of the code. We added a brain to this calculation. So if quantity is greater than equal 5, it checks if the customer is buying 5 or more of the same snack. Next is the return get price times quantity times 0.95. If they are buying a bulk, we give them a 5% discount. And next is the return get price times quantity. If they buy less than 5, they just pay the regular price. So for the conclusion of this class, so this is our smart class. It shows how we can use the same name for a method but change the logic inside. So by adding the 5% for the bulk discount, here we make snacks behave differently than household items, even though they come from the same parent. So that's all. Thank you.
Greetings, I'm Jesse Repscana. So in this video, I'm going to discuss about the POS frame class. So the POS frame class is the main window of the GUI or main window of our system, which is the QuickMart POS system. So extend JFrame. So that means that this class is a Java Swing window. And then this implements cart observer. So that means that the class can listen to the changes happening in the cart or in the cart observer class. And then next is all the color palette that we use, which is the BG dark, BG panel, BG guard, accent green, and so on. And then next is all the fonts that we use, which is the font title, font header, font body, font small, font mono, and then the font total. And then next is the data references. So the private final cart. So the purpose that is to store all the shopping in the cart object. And then the private final list products. So the purpose that is to stores all the available products. And then next is all the UI components that we use, which is the JList, JCombo box, JSpinner, JTable, and so on. So all these UI components we use. So this is all the UI components we use. And then next is the constructor. So the constructor is retrieves the singleton cart and register as an observer and builds GUI. So the public POS frame list products constructor. So this constructor receive all the list products object. And then this code, which is this dot product equal products. So the purpose that is to save the past product list into the class variable. And then this dot cart equal cart get instance method. So the purpose that is to get the single cart instance using the singleton pattern. And then next is this dot cart that add observer this method. So the purpose that is to register the POS frame as an observer. So it gets updated when the cart is changes. And then next is the setup frame method. So it calls a method that set the window title size and etc. And then next is the build UI method. So it calls the method to build to build and arrange all the UI components that using that in there. So next is the populate product list all method. So the purpose that is to display all the products in the product list. And then next is the set visible true method. So the purpose that is to make the window visible on the screen. And then next is the setup frame method. So this. So the purpose that is to configure the JFrame window properties. So first is the set title. Set title, which is the quick mark POS system. So that's only set the title. And then next is the set default closer operation JFrame exit on close. So the purpose that is to ensure the program exits when the window is closed. And then next is the set size 1150 width and then the 720 height. So the purpose that is to set the initial window size. So this is the initial window size. And then next is the set minimum size. New dimension 1650. So the purpose that is to prevent the window from being resized smaller than the size, which is the 1650. And then next is the set location relative to null method. So the purpose that is to center the window on the screen. And then next is the get content pane that set background BG dark. So the purpose that is to set the background color of the window using the predefined color, which is the BG dark. Yan, and then may kita dyan. And then next is this method, which is the private void build UI method. So the purpose that is to assemble the three main layout zones. So first is the set layout new border layout 00 method. So the purpose that code is to set the layout manager to the border layout, so and then divides the window into regions. And then next is the add builder header method. Then the border layout north. So the purpose that is to add the header section in the top part of the window, which is the border layout north. So that's the code that put the header in the top part of the window. And the next is add build main content method border layout center. So the purpose that is to add the main content area in the center part. And then last is the add build status bar border layout south. So the purpose that is to add the status bar. So next is this method, which is the private JPanel build header method. So this method creates the top header of the panel. So it's responsible for building the section that appears at the top of the frame. So which include the logo, store name, and the current date. And then next is this JPanel header equal new JPanel new border layout method. So the purpose that is to create the main header of the JPanel, and then use the border layout as his layout manager. So this BG. And then next is this header that set background BG lane. So the purpose that is to set the background color. Then also this header set border factory credit compound border. So the purpose this line of code is to set the border or the position of the header. So that is the purpose that. Then also this is also the the placeholder of the logo, and then the star title. And then same as this. So the purpose is to load the logo, and then size there, and then resize it, which is this 4040. This is the size of the logo or the image edited. Then this is the logo icon, which is this. Then image scaled. So this 4040, this is the image scaled, and then this is the smooth scale, which is the smooth. And then the LBL logo set icon, yung image. And then so the purpose this block of code is to edit the logo or the image. And then same as this. So this is the J label dot show the QuickMark POS label. Then this is the fonts. This is the font style, and then the color. And then this is the title container that adds the label logo, and then this is also the title container that adds the label store title. And then this is the right side of the date and time. So the purpose of this is to display the real time, or what time is this now right now. So this is the purpose that J label. So we use the simple date format method to get the date. And then this is the design of that, which is the font, which is yung font niya is small, and then the text is muted. So meaning that it cannot be edited. And then the header, this is where the date is placed. So that is the purpose this block of code. So next is this method, which is the private JSplit pane build main content method. So the purpose of this method is to build the main middle section of the POS window, where the screen is split into two parts, which is the left side and then the right side. So first, this is the code of this method. So sa the JSplit pane that horizontal split. So the purpose that code is to split the window into left and right side. And then the build left panel method. So that method creates the product area, which is the left side, and then this build right panel method creates the cart area in the right side. And then they split that divider location for 80 method. So the purpose of that is to set the initial position of the divider line. And then they split that divisor size. So the purpose that is to set the thickness of the divider between the two panels. And then the split that set background BG dark, so the background color of the split pane. And then the split that set border null. So that's to remove. So the purpose that is to remove any default border around the split pane. And then next the left panel, which is the private J panel build left panel. So the purpose of this method is to create the left side of the POS system, which is the product browsing section. So first is this is the code of this method. So the J panel equal new border layout 0 10. So the purpose that is to create the main left panel and use the border layout. And then the panel that set background BG dark. So the purpose that is to set the background color of the left side of the panel, which is the BG dark or the dark theme. And then the panel that set border new empty border 14 8. So the purpose that is to add the padding around the inside of the panel, So meaning that is that the top is 14, the left is 14, the bottom is 14, and then the right is port 8. And then the panel.add build product header method border layout.north. So the purpose that is to add the product header at the top. And then the panel.add build product list border layout.center. So the purpose of that is to add the product list in the middle section. And then the panel.add build add to cart method build add to cart bar method border layout.south. So this code adds the bottom section. And then the return panel. So it returns the fully built left panel.
Greetings everyone, my name is Aaron Cruzante and I'm going to explain these following codes. This section of the code is responsible for how the user interacts with our inventory and organize their intended purchase. Starting with the build product header method. Its primary purpose is to create the top navigation for our product section. Here we initialize the JPanel with a border layout to house both the product's title and the category filter. The most complex part of this method is the overridden getListCellRender component for the JCombo box. Instead of a standard dropdown, we program it to dynamically update the text color of each category, like beverage or snack, based on its assigned theme color. This provides an immediate visual cue to the user. We've also attached an action listener so that whenever a category is selected, the populate product list method is triggered to refresh the view. Transitioning from the header for the actual inventory display, we have the build product list method. This function initializes the JScroll pane and the JList where our items appear. To ensure that the UI feels modern and professional, we utilize the product cell renderer and set a fixed cell height of 46 pixels, which keeps the list organized and legible. By wrapping the list in JScroll pane, we ensure that the interface remains functional even as our product database grows beyond the visible screen space. Next, we look at the interaction layer with the build add to cart bar method. This method contributes a functional utility bar at the bottom of the product section. It combines the JSpinner, which we style for better visibility, and an add to cart button. The logic here is straightforward but vital. It captures the user's desired quantity, and upon clicking the button, it executes the handle add to cart logic, move the data from the product list into the shopping cart. Shifting our focus to the right side of the application, the build right panel method acts as the primary container for the checkout experience. It uses border layout to stack three distinct areas: the cart header at the top, the transaction table in the center, and the total and action button at the bottom. This layout is crucial for maintaining a clear visual hierarchy, ensuring the user's eyes are naturally drawn from their items down to the final checkout actions. Finally, to give the cart its identity, the build cart header method creates the shopping cart label. Aside from the main header, it includes a small hint label on the right side that instructs the user to review their items. This contributes to the overall user experience by providing clear guidance within the GUI, ensuring the checkout process is intuitive and error-free. That's it.
Hello, I'm Karmar P. Barbaran and I'll be explaining to you the Java Swing codes that I was given. As you can see, it is not an IDE this time, but instead a picture of the code. Unfortunately, I was instead giving this picture because we are lacking in time. So first and foremost, this part just builds the table model setup. It defines the column headers and creates a default table model. It also overrides is cell editable and always returns false, meaning the table will never be editable. So this part is just for styling. It styles the background, the text, the font, the border, the row height, and others as shown here. And then we have the column width part. It just modifies the width of each column in the table so that it looks clean. It bases the size of the space between each column based on how big the item inside of it is. Next is the right align. It does exactly as it says and just puts the sentences inside the tables to be right aligned. Next is the scroll panel. The scroll panel just wraps the finished table inside a JScroll pane. The user can scroll through when there are more items than what can be shown. Next is build bottom area. It organizes the bottom half of the panel by putting the totals card in the center and the action buttons on the east side. And then we have picture 2, the second part of the code. This part is build totals card. It builds the summary card using a grid layout with 3 rows. Each row shows a label and a value subtotal at about 12%, with a grand total being highlighted in green to stand out. And then we have build action buttons. It creates 4 buttons: remove item, checkout, clear cart, and exit, each with their own varied color to show what they do. They are all set to the same size using a loop for consistency, and each is connected to its own listener that defines what happens when clicked. And here are the listeners. And then we have build status bar. It builds the feedback strip at the bottom of the window. The left side shows a real-time status message telling the user what is happening, and the right side shows the app name and the version. Next is populate product list. It filters and refreshes the product list based on the selected category. It clears the current list first, then loops through all the products and only adds the ones that make the selected category. If all is selected, every product gets added. And then we have image tree. Image tree starts out with handle add to cart. First, it tries a spinner, which is quantity spinner. It forces the quantity spinner to commit whatever value the user typed in. If the value cannot be parsed, it defaults to 1. So nothing breaks. Next is product selection. It checks if the user actually selected a product from the list. If nothing is selected, it prints out a warning dialog and stops the method. Next is Stock validation. It gets the quantity value from the spinner and checks if it exceeds the available stock of the selected product. If there is not enough stock, it shows an error dialog, insufficient stock/available. And finally, it is cart.add_item select quantity block. It adds the items to the cart, resets the spinner back to 1, repaints the product list to reflect the updated stock, and updates the status bar with a confirmation message showing what was added. And that is all for me.
Dangal greetings everyone, I'm Arbenis Bitillon. I'm going to present the handle remove method, which is this one. The handle remove method is designed to safely remove an item from the cart while guiding the user through proper interaction. It begins by checking which row is currently selected in the table. Since the system depends on user selection to determine which item is to remove. And if no row is selected, the function immediately shown a warning message and stop execution to prevent errors. And once a valid selection is detected, the system retrieves the product name and from the selected row so it can be used for confirmation feedbacks. And next is the handle checkout method, which is this one. This handles the complete checkout process and ensure that transactions are valid before proceeding, and it starts by checking whether the cart contains any items, because completing a checkout with an empty cart would not make a sense. And if the cart is empty, the system immediately informs the user of a true an error message dialog and stop further execution. If the cart has an item, the system proceeds by generating and displaying a receipt that summarizes the purchase after the receipt is shown. And next is the handle clear method, which is this one. This method allows the user to remove all items from the cart while ensuring that no action is done accidentally. It it first checks if the cart is already empty, and if so, it simply displays a message to inform the user instead of performing unnecessary operation. If the cart contains an item, the system asks the user for confirmation through a dialog box. And this step is important because it prevents unintended deletions of all items. And then only when the user confirms the action does the system proceed to clear the chart completely. And next is the show receipt dialog, which is this one. This part of the code begins with the process of generating a receipt by constructing a well-organized text layout. It uses a string builder to efficiently build the receipt content, and step by step, which is more flexible than using regular strings. And a separator line is created to visualize and organize the receipt. After that, the current date and time are generated to record when the transaction is acquired. The system then adds the store name and receipt title to give the output a professional appearance. After that, It defines the header such as item name, quantity, and price to by ensuring that the information will be displayed in a structured and readable format. And next is the this for loop. This section is responsible for displaying all items including the subtraction. The system loops through each item stored in the cart and retrieve important details such as product name, quantity, and subtotal to maintain a clean and aligned layout. And then it checks if the product name is too long or is too short. If it is necessary, each item is then formatted into a row using a line spacing so that all values is lined up properly in the column to ensure that the receipt remains easy to read and visualize and organize even the multiple items are listed. And next is this one. This part is complete the receipt by calculating and displaying the final payment details. First is add the separator line to clearly distinguish the total selection from the item list. It then calculates the subtotal by summing all item costs, followed by computing the VAT, which is set by 12%. After that, it calculates the grand total by adding a VAT to subtotal. And all these values are formatted into two decimal places to ensure accuracy and consistently format. And next is the JTEX area, which is this code. This section is responsible for presenting the generated receipt to the user to graphical interface. The complete receipt text is placed inside the text components, which is styled using monospaces font to ensure proper alignment of columns. The text area is set to non-editable so that user cannot be modified the receipt content. It visualizes improvements such as background color and text color and padding are applied to enhance readability and then to handle a longer receipt. Next is the text area is wrapped inside the scroll plane, allowing the user to scroll to the content. Finally, the receipt is displayed in a dialog window, making it easy for user to view the transaction details in a clean and organized format. And next is the on chart update and the reference card table. This part is ensure that the system interface always reflect the current state of the chart. The on cart update method is automatically triggered whether there's a change in the cart, such as an adding or removing items. When this happens, the system refreshes both the table and the total values. The table refresh process works by first clearing all the existing rows and then rebuilding them using an updated chart data. Each row is filled with the detailed product information, including the name, category, price, quantity, and subtotal. This approach is guaranteed that display data is always accurate, consistent, and synchronized with the actual content of the chart. Thank you.
Mga greetings, I'm Ronarman Biganayo and I'm going to explain the POS frame, which is the GUI for our project. And the first thing I'm going to explain is the first thing is the J button, make button, string text, color FG, this whole, and for the J button btn equals new J button text. This is the initiate the button. New J button text creates a raw button with the given label. At this point, it has Java's default look, gray, boring, or no custom behavior. And for the applying based styling, this part, btn set font, new font, Tigoi UI font, and it's bold and the pixel is 12. And for the next is for the line 570. This set focus painted false that prevents Wing from drawing the dotted focus rectangle that appears when the button is selected. It clashes with the dark theme. And next is for the line. For the line 570 to 72. This is build the compound border. Two borders are stuck. The outer border is a 1 pixel solid line in the FG color. The inner empty border adds 60 pixel vertical and 12 pixel horizontal padding. And next is the setting the cursor. Is setting the cursor is swap the cursor to a hand pointer when hovering over the button, giving the user clear visual signal that the element is clickable like a link. So this is, and next is for this, add mouse listener, attach hover listener, an anonymous mouse adapter handles two event, enter swap colors, exit reverse them. This is the core hover effect. It's also connected to each other. And for the next one is style spinner. And for the style spinner is set the color outer J spinner, background to BG card, foreground to text main, and the font is font body. This is affect the arrow button in spinner frame, but not the text field inside. For the this is spinner that get editor method returns the inner display components, the part that shows the current value. It returned as a generic J component. And for this if statement is J spinner that default editor. Custom spinner could use a different editor type. Without this check, a class would throw a class exception at runtime. And next for the get field is get field method to get the actual JText field nested inside the editor, and applies the same dark colors and font to the inner text field, then sets a thin border called line border so it looks consistent with UI inputs in the UI. And next and lastly is this part, the build the cell container creates a fresh J panel with border layout and an 8 pixel horizontal gap. A matter border draws only the bottom edge, arrow separator align, and empty border adds inner padding. And 3 outcome selected row. blue highlight, even index, BG card, odd index, a slightly different dark shade. This creates the zebra stripe alternating pattern. And the value parameter comes in as row object. We check it is a product instance before casting so the render can handle mixed type list safely. And the row 2 grid layout oh, grid layout is a two-row grid layout holds the product name and the price. Price is formatted as this comma separated two decimal places. Price color changes on selection. And another two-row grid layout holds category and stack both. Right aligned category gets a color. This second grid layout category stack both aligned category gets a color from get category color method. Stack turns red when below 8. And left panel is added to the center, takes remaining with right panel to the east, fixed to its reference size. The computed J panel is returned to swing the paint. And that's all for this part. Greetings, I'm Ronald Biganaya and I'm going to explain our UI of our project. And this is our project UI. The name of our system is QuickMart POS, which is a simulator for one store or grocery site where you can buy items. First thing is this is our product area where you can see all the product that we're selling. This is the hover. You can pick whether you want beverages, snacks, or household, and this is all where you can see it all. And for our beverages is we have mineral water, 500 ml, and we also have the stock of 50, and cola, stock of 30, and the price is 55. Orange juice, stock of 25, and it's 75 pesos. Iced tea, stock of 40 and 45 pesos. For energy drink, we have stock of 20 and 65 pesos. And for the snack, we have potato chip, stock of 60 and 35 pesos. Chocolate bars, we have 45 stock and 28 pesos. Instant noodles, we have 80 stock and 15 pesos for that. And cheese cracker, we have 35 stock and 42 pesos. And last for the popcorn, stock of 55 and 22 pesos. And for the dishwashing liquid, and this is household materials, and we have 20 stocks and 89 pesos each. And for the laundry detergent, stock of 15 and 145 pesos each. And for the toilet papers, 12 pieces and stock of 18 and 120 pesos. And for bath soap, we have 40 stocks and 32 pesos each. And for lastly for the shampoo, stock of 22 and 95 pesos each. And that's for the product area. And this is below here is the quantity part where you can select if you want to select for example, this one. If I want this I want to buy 2 pieces. Here is where you can select it. And for the add to cart, this part is you can add what product you want to buy, and it's showing here through the shopping cart area. For example, is this cheese cracker. The product, the category is snack, and the unit price of it is 45 each, and the quantity I select is 2, and the subtotal price is 84. And make some example. Other example is orange juice, quantity is 3, and I'm add to cart, and and it shows here. And for this part is, you can see the subtotal here. The total of this 84 plus 205 is 309. And there's an VAT for this, which is 12%. So that's equivalent to 37.08 pesos. And for the grand total for these two items is 346.8 pesos. And for this button is, this undo is to remove the product that you add in the shopping cart. Like example, you do not intend to buy that, and yes, you can remove that product. Sample this orange juice. I click that and click the remove item, and it's going to remove. And it shows here what item you remove. Is, for example, like earlier is the orange juice and 1 liter. And for this checkout button is where you check out all the items you selected in the shopping cart, and you click this will show the receipt. And this is our receipt, Quick Mart POS system official sales receipt, the date and the time. And here's the item. It shows cheese crackers. The quantity is 2 and the price is 84. Iced tea 145, and the subtotal 129, and the VAT for that is 15 pesos, and the total value is, the total price is 144.48. And there's the greetings below. And for this button is clear cart, where the shopping cart is, this will remove all the product in the shopping cart. Example is yes, remove the product. And for this exit button is, this will exit the program. And that's for the UI of our program.